I want to close my final White House Correspondents' Dinner by just saying thank you. I'm very proud of what you've done. It has been an honor and a privilege to work side by side with you to strengthen our democracy. And with that, I just have two more words to say. Obama out.
This is a turnkey project for Moment Factory. We worked closely with the band and collaborators to create every element of the show, from the content to the lighting to the automation to the stage design. It really helps the project in that this is a specific holistic vision we're working on for Imagine Dragons.
Everybody loves a good Twitter fight, right? Now there's a feud brewing between the royal family and the First Family. Well, not a real one. President and First Lady tweeted a fake intimidation video at Prince Harry in anticipation of the 2016 Invictus Games. In this video, Michelle Obama says she and the president will be bringing their A game to the annual competition. I like how tough they look, too. Prince Harry then tweeted back, "Wow, First Lady of the United States and President of the United States, you can dish it out, but you can't take it." Prince Harry then responded with his own video.
These are all the individuals from last year doing their thing, running 100 meters and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And the American man here was incredibly fast. Yeah.
It was quite close, isn't it?
Oh, message? Oh, from Michelle. How very amusing. So would you like to watch it together?
Yes.
Let's have a look.
Hey, Prince Harry, remember when you told us to bring it at the Invictus Games?
Careful what you wish for.
Boom.
Oh, really? Please.
Boom.
I love that he got the Queen involved.
It's a lot of pressure, but what's a lot of fun about this is we're working with Imagine Dragons and they have a really dope aesthetic. They put a lot of faith into the kind of video content that we want to create.
And we'll go to another one right now. Senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe, who was also in the room and then rushed off to the White House to cover the president's press conference. Ed, good evening.
Tony, what is so striking is that Matt and I were sitting at a table with Majority Leader Steve Scalise, who had just completed telling us about his health journey since the assassination attempt against him a few years ago, and suggested that he has cheated death twice in his life, between that and a cancer scare more recently. And literally, as he finished that story, we heard the plates crash in the back of the room, and then, you know, everything else unfold as it did.
Sergeant Frank Drebin, Detective Lieutenant Police Squad.
Yeah, and I'm Robert De Niro.
Mr. De Niro, we've got to get inside.
It's action-packed.
I know what I'm doing.
Full-bodied.
What are you doing in my bathing suit?
Star-studded.
And I think the irony and the frustration some of us had in the moment was, here we are paid to understand what the president's up to and what's going on, and it was very hard to figure that out because they were trying to secure the hotel and ensure that there wasn't someone else either in the room or in the building that could have tried to do something similar. We should point out from here at the White House, the president is back here, the First Lady obviously was rushed here with much of the cabinet. Reporters who walked, or I saw some using e-scooters to get from that hotel. I did not do that, but others took the scooters down here to get in. The Secret Service was, in essence, doing a double ID check as you came in towards the complex.
Leslie Nielsen.
You're so insensitive.
This isn't that toilet seat thing again, is it?
Naked Gun, 33 and a third.
Freeze and nobody gets hurt.
The Final Insult.
From now on.
Rated PG-13. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
To ensure that those that really can be here were here. And many of us dressed like we are, you know, at the dinner and then came out here. He is expected to be here tomorrow as scheduled for meetings. Obviously, there's the war with Iran. There are preparations this White House is making for the state visit of King Charles and Queen Camilla that starts on Monday.
Open the curtain, I am the light, lightning on my left and thunder on my right. 7 lamps blazing into the night. Open the curtain, I'm the light. 24 elders falling at my feet, singing my praises on them golden streets. Worthy is the one sitting in my seat. 24 elders falling at my feet. Thousand angels at my command, pushing their way up toward the bandstand. My every wish I demand. 10,000 angels at my command.
What I would like to say is like we're playing on the same team.
No role here is static. All the roles are just kind of fluid and organic. So working at this company is great because the benefit is that you get to do so many different things.
I'm a motion designer at Moment Factory, doing 2D, 3D animation.
After Effects artist.
I am project coordinator.
I'm the technical production manager.
Lighting designer and lighting and laser programmer.
Open the curtain, I am the light. Another stage, another night. Stars are falling out of sight. Open the curtain, I'm the light.
I'm a content coordinator.
What's inspiring of the album concept of Smoke and Mirrors is that things aren't always what they appear to be.
I think it's important to build some sort of storyline throughout the show to really make sure that people will live this moment emotionally throughout the show. It's very motivating for people working on content to go from production to integration. There's nothing like to be on site and see all the moving parts all tagged together.
What I find is really interesting is when you look at the video screens, like I said, it's not this big HD screen. We view it more as an architectural piece or an art installation.
So I'm just excited to be able to share a show that's unlike anything else.
I want kids' heads to explode. I want kids to cry, freak out, jump up, get goosebumps.
I want them to have many surprise moments, moments that affect them, that are so notable, that they understand the relationship of the visual content and the band as a whole.
It's never enough, they're left wanting more. The show is over, now I'm out the back door.
This is an ABC News special report.
We're coming on the air because there was an incident at the Correspondents' Dinner in Washington, D.C. at the Washington Hilton, attended by thousands of journalists and dignitaries and President Trump. We're hearing reports that there were loud noises and a bang before the room was evacuated. I want to bring in White House Chief Correspondent Mary Bruce with the latest. Mary, what are you hearing?
Currently standing inside a very packed ballroom at the Hilton. The White House Correspondents Association dinner had just gotten underway. I was sitting about, I'd say, 20 feet from the president, who was up on the dais. Everyone had just been welcomed, was starting their meals, when all of a sudden I heard a loud bang. It almost sounded like a dish dropping, and turned behind me and saw people moving quickly towards the front of the room. It became very apparent very quickly that it was Secret Service rushing in. The president surrounded and immediately taken off of the stage. We saw Secret Service rushing in what appeared to be full tactical gear.
it just blows your mind. It makes you feel like so happy to be a part of something that you would have never expected to be a part of.
This is the part where we go home.
And we will wait for you at the door.
Guns drawn, full helmets on, swarming the room. Everyone in the room. And keep in mind, this is thousands of people, journalists, members of the cabinet, members of the administration. Everyone dropped to the floor instantly. All of a sudden, a room that moments before had been completely filled with sound was silent except for the sound of the Secret Service rushing around trying to get dignitaries and important people out of the room. Everyone was immediately hit the floor. I looked up and saw the Secret Service then escorting out key members of the cabinet. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I saw them escorting out Secretary Marco Rubio right next to me. You could see members of the Secret Service jumping from chair to chair, trying to get to the front of the room, escorting everyone out. The room is still packed. We have not been evacuated yet. We were told that the program is expected to resume soon. And last we heard, the president was still here inside the Washington Hilton following this very concerning incident.
Still they're shouting for an encore. It's never enough. I'm left wanting more.
Okay, after this concerning incident, the president is okay.
Oh, what we do know, Allison, is that the president is still in the room, in the hotel, and that he was escorted out by the Secret Service.
Continue to follow developments on the story. I'm Allison Cossack in New York. We'll be back with more.
All right, Elvis has left the building. I've told you absolutely straight up to this point, you know that he has left the building. He left the stage and went out the back with the policeman, and he is now gone from the building. I remind you again that the hayride will continue right on until 11:30 o'clock, presenting again most of the country artists that you have seen tonight. We'll be very pleased to have you remain with us. I invite you also to tune in tonight, all of you who are listening to KWKH, to our Red River Roundup, which, beginning at 11:30, will be heard straight through until 1 o'clock tonight.
I understood his life. His life was, complicated. Right? Yes. It was complicated, but he was terrific. Sure, and he was born with a voice that he never lost. Right?
Yes, exactly.
He had other difficulties, but he never lost the voice.
The last day.
Yeah.
And Graceland really is the fulfillment of a childhood promise one day that Elvis made to his parents to buy them a big house so that he could take care of them, and that's what Graceland represents.
Well, he loved his mom.
Yes.
So much. I think the father, but he really loved his mom. And
yes.
I think when his mom went, it was very hard for him, right?
Very, very hard. Yeah. And really, Graceland is probably the most positive thing that when foreigners come from all over the world, tens of millions of foreigners come to Graceland, it's what they really represent, the best of America, because Elvis really represented the best of America.
You will have the opportunity of hearing on that show a great many of the country music disc jockeys who are visiting with us here tonight in the Youth Building, the Louisiana State Fairgrounds. I'd like to remind you that this performance tonight was a benefit performance for the YMCA of the city of Shreveport.
Yourself off the ground. I said, young man, 'cause you're in a new town. There's no need to be unhappy. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA.
Elvis receives no money whatsoever for his performance here tonight. All of the proceeds, other than the actual expenses of presenting this show, will go to the Shreveport YMCA.
They have everything for young men to enjoy. You can hang out with all
I must say this for you young ladies and young gentlemen, you have been exactly that, young ladies and young gentlemen, and we are very, very proud of you for your performance here tonight.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these things simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Here are the facts. In the film The Manchurian Candidate, shadowy communist forces use brainwashing, hypnosis, and drugs to turn an ordinary U.S. soldier into an unwitting assassin. This soldier has no knowledge of his experiences. Instead, his programming is triggered by seeing a Queen of Hearts playing card. After he carries out his specified task, he forgets the entire sequence. It's a frightening proposition, and it makes for hair-raising fiction. But could it happen in real life? Several intelligence agencies actually did try to create unwilling sleeper agents, and they weren't all communist. In fact, one of them was the CIA. Here's where it gets crazy. During the 1950s, the CIA ran a top-secret operation codenamed Project Artichoke. According to a CIA memo from 1975, Artichoke is a code name for the study and use of special interrogation methods and techniques. These methods include the use of hypnosis, drugs such as morphine or sodium pentothal, and psychological torture techniques such as total isolation. Project Artichoke arose from Project Bluebird and eventually transformed into the more well-known Project MK Ultra. Over the course of this project's lifetime, it addressed several disturbing questions, such as, can an individual be made to perform an act of attempted assassination involuntarily under the influence of artichoke? To answer this question, the CIA contemplated several tactics that, were they common knowledge, would have generated an enormous uproar and outrage from the American public. To this day, the details of this murky operation are largely unknown. There is evidence that the CIA used LSD on interrogation subjects and also conducted numerous interrogations and experiments with other drugs, searching for a combination of techniques and substances that could produce extraordinarily compliant, suggestible individuals. According to the current historical record, these experiments were largely unsuccessful and at times disastrous. There was also at least one documented death linked to this series of programs. About a week after a CIA representative gave Army civilian Frank Olson a dose of LSD, Olson died, crashing through a window and plummeting to the ground. The death was ruled a suicide. But how close did the CIA come to creating an unwitting assassin? The most disturbing piece of evidence comes from a 1954 memo, wherein the Artichoke team describes and analyzes a plan to drug a well-connected foreign national, brainwash the subject, and return them to their normal surroundings with no knowledge of the event. The goal was to make this subject an involuntary assassin. Once triggered by a certain symbol, phrase, or other stimulus, the subject would attempt to kill his or her designated target. In other words, to create a real-life Manchurian candidate. The memo states that this is a hypothetical problem and also concludes that the operation would be incredibly difficult, if not impossible. There would be very little time to imprint the programming. The agency would have almost no physical control of the subject, and the access to the subject would have to take place in a social situation with non-CIA company. Additionally, the Artichoke team realized that any news of the operation could ruin further missions. This evidence only proves that the agency contemplated these types of operations, but the lack of further detail leads many investigators to suppose the field operations may have been more extensive than the CIA would have the public believe. After looking through the heavily redacted files and searching for masses of missing data, we only know one thing for sure. There's still something they don't want you to know.
These are the minds of the future, remember?
They were given an opportunity to become engineers or to become city developers in their own classrooms. So their confidence has gone through the roof.
And it opens up so many other doors that doesn't limit them to a specific career field.
future that Ernest Cline, the writer of the book, envisioned. I was very careful with Ernie collaborating with me every step of the way to be able to find the movie narrative inside this dense forest of Ernie's profound imagination.
The Oasis being the ultimate toy box with all the toys in the world, and then playing that with one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. It results in just amazing action and such a fun adventure.
Ernest Cline is such a visionary, and I think has seen the future before any of us possibly could even imagine it.